Buying used hot toys. We've all done it at one point or another for any number of reasons. Could be to save money, or it could be that we just want to add that unique piece to our collection that we missed out on when we began 1/6 scale collecting. In this video, I want to highlight a couple tips if you've never bought a used hot toy before, what you should potentially be looking into before making your purchase. Hey everyone, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video. And today, like I said, I want to talk about buying used hot toys and some things that you should be looking into prior to making that purchase. But before I begin, please consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if this is in fact your first time. And if you like the content, consider hitting that little notification button on there for future videos and even live streams. And more importantly, the things I'm about to talk about are experiences that I personally have had when buying used hot toys. Doesn't mean that they apply to everybody, and I definitely know there's things that I've missed. Like all of us, we're unique in our own ways, and we've all had our own challenges, successes, and losses in buying used stuff. So that being said, drop a comment on the video below and let me know what I missed and add to the conversation and share your experience, or if there's something that you can bestow some knowledge onto the next person and we can generate a great conversation in the comments. So if someone's never bought a hot toy before and doesn't know where to begin, or they don't know what they should be looking out for, pass the knowledge on to the next person. That's what this video is all about. All right, guys. So like I said in the beginning, this is the tips for buying used hot toys. Once again, these are just some things that I've noticed with a couple of the transactions that I have had personally. The first thing I would say is, why buy used? So for an example is if you're someone that came into the collecting game currently, let's say 2024, you don't own any hot toys, but you decided to pull the trigger and say, hey, I'm going to buy my first one. Where do I go? Probably a lot of people are going to tell you, hey, go to Sideshow. So that being said, if you go here on their page, you're going to find a lot of great stuff. But the reality is, it depends on the type of collector you are. There's going to probably be pieces on here that you just missed out on. I'm going to document a specific figure that I bought last year that was a personal grail of mine to kind of give you guys an idea of the transaction and the process and things like that. So now I just want to take a moment, and when I say buy used, you can still also buy mint in box, even if the figure is older. But that also can bring about a certain amount of challenges, because just because a figure is mint in box, and this goes into my next point, is be patient and do your research. And an example of a figure that I bought last year is going to be the Hot Toys Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope MMS 283. Now, this is a figure that I actually ended up buying, but I bought it used. I could have bought this mint in box. I was okay that I wanted to save money on the figure. It can run for a pretty good amount of money. So buying mint, buying used is going to save me money right off the bat. But the other thing is, by doing your research, you kind of understand what the figure entails and if there's any known issues with the figure. And so, for example, this one is an older figure. I mean, it's an MMS 283, and now we're over 700. And this one, it's pleather, boots, and it also has a little, you can't see in this photo, but there's like a little pouch that hangs on his side that has the notorious issues of breaking off. And so it's important to do your research on this to know, hey, listen, if this thing is mint in box and it's over 10 years old and you buy it, you get the figure, you open it up, it's very possible that could still have the same amount of issues as buying it used. At least with it used, the figure's been opened up. You can find out how many collectors have had it, and you can know what the condition is right off the bat. And if it's something that you're tolerable with, you can save some money. Win-win. So that's just kind of the idea. Now, the next thing is when I say be patient and do your research, when you figure out what you want to go, let's say I went the used route, and this is what I did. So I decided I'm going to buy this figure used. The next thing I do is go right on eBay, do a search for the figure, and then right down here, you click sold items. That way, what you're looking at are items that actively sold. And you can see the last time that this figure was sold on eBay was January 14th, 2024. It was sold brand new via bid, and it sold for $635 brand new. Now, if you look at the photos of this, which I just had up previously, they're all stock photos. I'm hoping this thing turns out, there's the pouch and all the leather good, the pleather goods. I'm hoping this thing turned out great, because it was a $635 figure, but there's no actual photos of the figure. So therefore, you don't know what the condition of the figure is. Pre-owned, here's one sold on December 27th, 2023 for $424. Bit of a difference. I only get two photos. And this will go into another topic to talk about, but you can see this is an actual photograph of the figure itself. Once again, here, sold on Christmas, pre-owned 376. Looked like it was a buy it now. This person took a lot more photos of the figure, so you can kind of see and get an idea of what. Oh, see, this is perfect. See, look at all the photos here. There's the pouch. There's the boots. Everything looks to be in pretty good condition. And so this one I would say this is a really good deal. Another thing to do your research on is have a budget. 375. You're looking at that 375 to. I mean, 600 is a lot. Like I wouldn't pay 600 brand new. So you're looking at the 375, 400 mark. That's kind of where I was at. 375, maybe 350, 400. That's kind of where I wanted my budget to be. Where do you go? Now, here's eBay as an example. So eBay is a place that you can get figures from. It's a pretty well protected place, and I feel like it gets more secure every year from when I was selling a few years ago. But they're the hook. Yeah, you can use PayPal. Everything's secured. Messages are monitored by eBay. So really you can't do any like side deals and hustles and things. Everything's got to be through eBay. eBay is a good place to kind of gauge the pricing, like the market pricing, but it depends on if, it's not it's not the best place I would go always looking to purchase hot toys. That's my opinion. eBay, and you also have Mercari, which is kind of the same thing as well. Another big thing though, if you're new to the community, and this is kind of goes back to my patience and do your research, is also on Facebook. Facebook, you have Facebook Marketplace, and the big resource is the buy sell trade groups. Bunch of groups out there. You're going to learn which ones that are for you. Is that there's definitely a lot of good groups that you can actually buy and sell figures in. This one here, internet, buy sell trade. This is strictly just that, buying and selling and trading. That's it. And so this is one of the best resources. I'll link this in the description below, along with a couple other groups. And so this is a great one where you just scroll through. So this is active as of making this video, and you can see here these are examples, people putting up willing to sell. This is a Dark Side Anakin 500 shipped, animated Boba Fett 550 shipped. What's nice about this is that these require timestamp documentation. So when these people put these photos up, you have to put your name and the timestamp of when you're putting it up there to show proof of you're a real person. And that leads me to my next tip, is always try to protect yourself. I would say a high percentage of people buy their figures probably through Facebook and the buy and sell trade groups. I would say that, and through other sellers. So like, for example, if I wanted to buy one of these figures here, I would message the person like, here, someone says PM sent. Once you do that, you're having the conversation with the person through Facebook, Messenger. It's not like it's being regulated and watched and monitored. You can have a free conversation with somebody, and there's a lot of faith there that you've got to have. So you always have to protect yourself in terms of when you're having these conversations. And these are a couple tips that I would recommend. Dark Side Anakin. It looks like this seller put up literally 2 photos of them in the boxes. Here's Dark Side, and there's the animated Boba Fett, which is on my list of figures to buy. If I was buying this specific figure, I would DM the person and say, hey, what's going on? Is it still available? If they say yes, I would ask for more photos, maybe even videos. Like, hey, can you give me some more photos of the figure? I want to check it out. Ask a lot of questions, but definitely get as much photos and videos as possible. Really, the seller should oblige. It's not that hard to snap photos, honestly. I've sold stuff before and have sent over 30 plus photos of things just to make sure. And as the seller, they should want to have everything documented as well. That way, if someone tries to combat them and say, hey, this isn't what you said it was, they have all the photos to justify it. So there really should be no issues there in requesting additional information. And the biggest thing that people do a lot of times is, you ask for references. What do you mean by that? Well, typically what happens is if you go into a Facebook group, you might have, someone will usually put a post up and say, hey, I need a reference check for John Doe and myself. So what will happen is, you could drop a post here and say, hey, looking to do a deal with John Doe. Can I get a reference on this person? And what will happen is you put a post up in one of the groups, and people will start to comment and say, great seller, no problem, great transaction. Or someone might say, hey, beware of him, something like that, or whatever the case may be. Now, when it comes to actual payment and transaction, if you do it through goods and services, it gives you basically a period of protection that if something isn't what it claims to be, you buy a figure and there's issues, you can open up a dispute, and then PayPal can kind of situate it. And if there needs to be, they can regulate the dispute and the transaction. The other option you can do is friends and family. But with friends and family, once you send the money, that's it. It's over and done with. There's no disputing. There's no nothing. If you get screwed out of it, I mean, it's what happens. Don't ever feel pressured by what the seller wants you to. I wouldn't impose that on anybody. I would allow the buyer to decide how they want to pay. That's just me personally. Like I said, to each their own. Me, I would always do goods and services, just because it's protection at the end of the day. And then my final thing to wrap up is, if something feels off, walk away, because there's always another chance. These figures are produced in pretty high quantities for most part. So because you missed out on one, it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't find it again. But if you feel off about the situation, the transaction, anything like that, don't feel hesitant to walk away from the transaction by any means. Now, there's one more avenue that I want to discuss before I wrap up the video, and that's actually like independent sellers. I'm going to use one example. There's multiple sellers out there that are trusted in the community. One of them is going to be Jeremy Casa from Plastic Hero Collectibles. He's out of Australia. He sells, Australia, the US, the UK. He has his own Facebook group here. He's got over 1,000 members. The Obi-Wan Kenobi I'm talking about, I actually ended up getting it from Jeremy. I got hooked up with Jeremy from Connor, Hot Toys Hotline. And that's another thing, is once you're in the community, you start getting hooked up with people because of references from other people. And you find out, hey, this guy's got a good rapport. Hey, all right, I'm going to reach out and try to, I'm going to buy something from him. So I hit up Jeremy. I sent him a DM. I said, hey, man, I'm interested in this figure. Can you let me know? And he flat out said to me, do you want to get it mint or do you want to get it used? I told him, I said, you know what? I'm looking to save some money. And I said, I'd rather have it used. And Jeremy said, you know what I'm going to do for you? If you get it used, he goes, I can inspect it. I'll send you a bunch of photos before the transaction's finalized, so you feel you have the peace of mind. And I want to show you guys kind of what that's about. So these are photos that were sent to me from Jeremy that he sent himself. I actually bought two figures at the same time. I bought the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I actually also bought the Sand Trooper from A New Hope. But we're going to focus on Kenobi. So you can see here, he took so many photos. Oh, I didn't even count, but this is the information that I got from Jeremy, and this is before I made the purchase. So he got the figure, he opened it up. It was already used, but he's labeled in good condition. So he opened it up and he showed me everything on this figure. And you see the detail of the photos just showing me everything, because like I said, the sculpt, no scuffing on the sculpt, anything like that. And he, obviously he took so many photos here, as you can see. And look, I knew that this is a little bit and it wasn't anything crazy, because I got a great price on this. And you see there's a little bit of, I don't even want to say it was damaged, but it started to kind of like separate ever so slightly. And actually there was a very easy fix to that. Boots were in great condition, but with this right here, there's actually a sealant that I actually put on this, a pleather treatment. But then there was also something that basically, it was like a clear glue that sealed this up right away. I actually have a video on what I did, a pleather treatment video, which I'll link above here, and if you guys want to check that out, that I used on this very figure that I purchased. But like I said, you see all these photos, absolutely great photos, just showing everything off. And it was the transparency. I can't begin to explain how transparent everything was. And so it was just absolutely great. A great, great transaction. These are all the photos, like I said, he did. And then I'll even jump over, if you guys want to take a look over here. This was the Sand Trooper. I bought these at the same time. So this is the Sand Trooper as well. And same thing. He took photos of the packaging, everything like that, the figure. So I was not surprised by anything. The Sand Trooper itself, I know, has the pauldron that, can always have some damage to it, or flaking. Everything was in great condition. You can see here, these just have like the color on this just faded because of how old they were. But when I got these, I wasn't surprised, and I was okay with this. So he sent me all these photos and basically said, hey, are you good with this? Do you want to move forward? Or he said, I can get you another one. I can get you a mint one, brand new in box. I said, you know what? I'm great with the way they are. I'm ready for them. I'll pleather treatment them up. I'll take care of them. No problem whatsoever. Those figures were shipped to me. No problem. Got them quick, and they were as advertised. But I can say I haven't had that level of detail of a transaction that I had with Jeremy. So this is a recommendation. If you are interested in somebody, I would take a look at Jeremy. Basically, be patient and do your research. I can't stress that enough in terms of patience. Patience in finding out, what kind of figure do you want? Do you want it new? Do you want it used? What's your budget? Do some research on what the figure's selling for, so you're not overpaying. Facebook groups. Where do you want to buy your figure from? Do you want to go through eBay? Do you want to go through buy and sell trade? And like I said, ask for as many photos as possible, just to protect yourself. Even if you have to, ask for the references, And I can't, and the biggest thing is just don't feel pressured. Like I said, at the end of the day, these are luxury based items. It's not going to be in the world if you're about to go do something. You know what? I can't get this figure right now. I mean, yeah, it might suck, but it's not the end of the world because there's always going to be another one that pops up. It's just what the reality is. And that's why I say if something's off, just walk away because there's always going to be another chance. You yourself watching this video, you're the one in control. Nobody else is. But I'm just trying to help out the next person. I hope this is a educational video. But like I said, make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if this is in fact your first time and you enjoy the content. But more importantly, comment below. But I know there's people out there have bought more than me and have had different experiences. Like I said, we're all unique. We all have our own experiences to bring to the table, and whatever knowledge you can give that can be passed along to the next person, that is what the intent of this video is meant to be. But until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.